Hello everyone. Today I'm going to discuss a few common warranty failures or parts that are going to fail under warranty in everybody's newest bill valid. Well, not MEI's newest, but Coinco's latest, their Vantage bill acceptor, Pyramid's Apex bill acceptor, and then warranty failures in MEI. And the reason I'm doing this is because a lot of people call with new units especially, or even old ones with a failure, and they want to know, why did a new unit fail? You know, why is it dead? It's, it's brand new. It shouldn't be dying. Well, ideally no, but there are defective parts that were used during certain time frames within certain years that have been fixed since then, but they will fail under warranty if you're using the the product. And there's only one way to explain it, and that is that everything in bill acceptors is small surface mount electronics or thin plastic. And it's not steel covered in car paint. Those things can last 30 years, but plastic wears out, electronics die, and there's going to be defective parts that once the product gets out into the field, the manufacturer realizes, oh, we have a problem here, and it gets fixed. And it's not that they don't make the Coinco MEI Pyramid, that they don't make a good product. It's just that there's problems. The problems get worked out, and they're covered under the warranty in most cases. And we're a service center for all of these guys, so we can take care of those problems. But there are problems, and I want you to know about them, and I want you to know what they look like. And I might point you to this video if you call and you have an issue, and I say, yeah, it's this part. And that way you can come and see what I'm talking about. So we're going to start here with Coinco's Vantage. The defective part in these will run from about when they started making these, which was 2009, through about the middle of 2014. I don't know the exact week cutoff, but it's going to be 2014, probably late 2014. If you're wanting to know if your unit falls in that time frame, the serial numbers on the side of them, the first two numbers on your serial number is the week, the third and fourth number is the year that they were made. So this was 2615, so the 26th week of 2015. So this one didn't come from the factory with this defective part in it. That's the way you can tell, unless it's been replaced. But unless your unit has been replaced in your unit, they will have come with, this is called a stacker nut. And these will be defective in anything from 2009 to middle of 2014 if you have a unit that's never been serviced before. And you'll get a defective motor error in your machine. The stacker plate it'll get stuck, or you'll hear a constant gear grinding. There's a few things that it'll happen when this part fails. The common one is the stacker plate gets stuck or won't go in or won't go out, or it can kill the motor if you run it too much with the defective part in here once it fails. But what happens in the stacker nut does several things. There's a magnet. It's kind of covered in grease right here, but there's a magnet here that that's a little bit better. So there's a magnet here that moves up and down a board that senses the magnet. So that's how this pushes the stacker plate out and brings it back in, and that's how the validator knows where the stacker plate is, in or out. But the part that fails on these is this gear right here, this white gear. This is a metal shaft, a metal axle that runs up through the middle of it. And what fails is this plastic. They shove it, they use a vise or something and shove it down onto this axle when they make these things. But what happens over time, the motor drives this thing in and out of here on this gear. And what happens is this gear strips inside where it attaches to the metal. And this plastic thing, if I was holding it, it should move the whole axle when it's working properly. But when it fails, this plastic gear will turn by itself, and the metal shaft will not turn with it. And then the stacker plate won't go anywhere. And this one actually isn't defective yet. We always replace these even if they come in and they haven't broken, because some validators, if they haven't been used a lot, this actually will still be working. But if it had failed, I would be able to turn this with my fingers, but I can't. But that is what fails. and it has to have a certain amount of use on it, so some stuff will be out of warranty if it's something that doesn't get used very much. And, you know, middle of 2014, everything's coming out of warranty anyway. But, you know, it's an easy fix for us, or for Coinco, or for anybody. But every Vantage from 2009 to 2014 is going to fail because of this part. Every single one is going to fail at some point. This part's going to fail. The new part is metal on metal. This is a new... Actually, I'll give you the clean one. This is the new one. It's metal on metal. Been using it for 2 years. Haven't seen a single failure yet. I mean, it fixed the problem. They don't strip. So anyway, that's a common problem. Lots of Vantages out there are dying because of that. And every one up to 2014 is going to die. It's just, you know, until they figured out what the problem was and fixed it. But anyway. Pyramid. This failure started middle of 2013, I think, somewhere around there. And it goes all the way to about the end of 2014. And what fails is your drive motor mount assembly. It's the plastic mount. The part on this that fails is your plastic mount. What happens is, you know, you'll end up with a validator. It won't take a bill in. You know, it'll be flashing. The lights will be flashing, but you'll end up with maybe a couple of gears inside your validator. These two gears here. You'll shake it. You'll hear the gears. But what happens? This plastic, and actually, I don't think it was Pyramid's fault in this case. It was the manufacturer of this plastic. They started changing the type of plastic that they used, and what would happen is same deal. They would use a vise or whatever, and they would shove these metal axles, into a much smaller plastic hole. And what would happen on this, on both of them really, but this was the one that always falls out. They come loose pretty soon. I mean, I've seen it happen within a day. You know, after they go out of the factory. Sometimes it takes a year or two. Just depends on how much use you put on them. But if you look at it real close, and the crack on this one's on the top. But if you look at these, you can see there's a crack somewhere going that way. And this axle will come out. Your gear will come off, and when you put in a bill, you know, everything's still working right and connected, and the motor will come on and turn. You'll hear it when you try to put a bill in. But there's nothing to connect the motor and its gears here. You know, these two gears are supposed to sit here and connect the power of the drive motor to your belts. And so when both of those fall off and are gone, then nothing happens. You know, once again, it's an easy fix. This is what the new ones look like. It's a much, much better plastic. Just feeling it, you know, it's way, way better. They improved the design a lot, and that's never happening again. This problem's never happening again. It's a much, much better design. The way you can tell just by looking in the validator, you know, when you take the bill box off of your bill validator, this part right here is this part on your drive motor. And you can look in here and figure out if it's the defective style or not. I'll tell you, just tell the difference. The old ones were either black or gray. All the new ones are gray so far, but the old ones, they were rough. They were squared right here. They were rough. They usually had lines or something on them. The new ones are a different shape, a little bit different shape. They're more rounded on the edges, and it's perfectly smooth. The plastic is perfectly smooth. And you have a color-coded dot here. They started putting these dots on when they came out with revisions of this assembly to fix the problem. The first one they came out with is actually green. So there were some with green dots. That's fine. They made a small change. I don't know when they went to the red dot. The red dot they've been making for about a year now, and that's the current version. But they'll also have a dot there. So that's how you can tell if your unit's been updated to the new drive motor mounts. And there are no issues with these as of yet. But there again, every single Apex validator that was made between the middle of 2013 and the end of 2014 is going to fail because of this issue. Most all of them are going to get fixed under warranty. I fix them every day here. Pyramid does too. You know, it's a simple fix, It's just, a problem that crept in that got taken care of, but, it's there. MEI, their 2700 series validators, their current model, and the 26s, very, very few issues. The most common issue that I see with MEIs, no matter what the age, is on their main boards. This is a 110 volt board, and actually this would apply to their current model 2600s, but their 110 volt control boards have a capacitor right here. It's a 470 microfarad 35 volt capacitor with a maximum operating temperature of 85 degrees Celsius. You can go online and buy those capacitors if you want and replace them yourself, but what happens in the 110 volt models is they die totally. A lot of times the stacker plate will actually be out in the bill box, and it'll die out there. You can't get the bill box off, but the validator dies. You have no lights, no power up, and 9 times out of 10, it's that capacitor. They haven't really improved that design, and even on their new ones, they fail. It usually doesn't happen under warranty. It does take a while. It depends on use, but several years, that capacitor dies, and your validator is dead totally. You don't. There's nothing you can do about it, and it's not a part that's easily replaceable. If you don't have a soldering gun and decent soldering skills, you're not going to be able to replace this on your own. But currently on their like the 2700s, common problem I see with those is that people blow up the boards unintentionally because the 2700s are an MDB only validator. They do not work in 24 volt pulse applications like the 2500 series 24 volt validators would. So people plug them into a 24 volt machine that is an MDB. It's pulse. It has the 2 plugs instead of the 1 MDB, and it blows them up. And it blows them up big time. I mean, it's not one component; it's lots of them, and that to me, that's an issue with their boards because everything still plugs in. To me, they should have put somewhere on this board a fuse on the incoming line that blows. They have surface mount fuses on here that's something else that fails on MEI's boards a lot, are their fuses. And there's a couple other parts that get old and crack, and a lot of the major problems I see with their validators are on these boards. And they're simple things, design improvements that could have been made, and some of them still haven't been, but they just, they do fail more than competitors' boards. And the main reason I had MEIs here, even though they don't really have a major current warranty issue going on, is just to demonstrate the fact that it's not limited to Coinco. Warranty issues aren't limited to Coinco. They're not limited to Pyramid, and they're not limited to MEI. These are all 3 made in the United States. Well, MEI moved theirs to Mexico. They're actually manufacturing theirs in Mexico, which I'd love to see that changed. But these are all U.S. manufacturers, and they're about all that's used in the field in the United States. And every one of them has issues. There's good points and bad points about all 3. I sell every one of these. I'm not biased towards one or the other. Actually, I don't officially sell for MEI, so I even have less interest in promoting their products. But all 3 of these are good products. There's lots of advantages to each different one depending on what application you're going to go into and what you're needing it for. But because you get one out of the box or whatever and it fails within a year or the next day, doesn't mean it's not a good product. It just means that, yeah, there's issues. Like I said, it's plastic and little electronics. Things happen. And it's all repairable. And if it's covered under the warranty, you don't have to pay anything. So I just wanted to show you guys that stuff so that you could actually see what's failing when you get like a new unit and you have an issue. So if you have any questions, email me. There's a phone number on here as well, or send a message on the video. I will get back with you.